Okay, good evening. I'd like to call the February 19th City Council meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everybody to our meeting this evening. Happy President's Day. I do have one announcement I wanted to make. March is Disability Awareness Month, and the City of Fishers is recognizing this month and providing a number of events and activities to recognize disability inclusion in our city. Since 2016, March Disability Awareness Month in Fishers has championed inclusion, collaboration, and acceptance for all people who live in our smart, vibrant, and entrepreneurial community. This effort has had a positive impact on more than just people with disabilities in our city. It's become an achievement for which our community, in which other communities strive. This year, we're fueled for the future as we use the month to include partners from other cities and in and around Hamilton County. As our leadership in disability inclusion has expanded beyond Fishers, we know we are all fueled for the future. And I encourage everybody to go to our website, fishersin.gov/disability awareness, to get the calendar of events. The first one is the kickoff, February 1st. Here at Launch Fishers at 8:30 in the morning, 8:30 to 10 a.m., we're going to have a featured keynote speaker from our community to talk about her disability journey, and we're also going to be giving out some awards to advocates and people with disabilities who have made great strides and contributions to our community. So please look at that. The Hamilton East Public Library is also doing events. And then we encourage everyone to be an ally and learn more about how you can become an ally and get your ally toolkit to learn more about disabilities.
And that's March 1st, not February 1st.
March 1st. Did I say February 1st?
That's
Sorry
okay.
about that. March
keep you on
1st.
track.
Sorry. Thank you. March 1st. So thank you. Next, we have our service awards. We have Luke Gannon. He's celebrating 25 years of service with our Fishers Police Department. Chief Getbart's going to be providing this presentation and recognition this evening.
Thanks, Council. Thanks for having us tonight. Here to celebrate Luke Gannon and 25 years of service to our community. Luke came to us in 1999. He was assigned to the Patrol Division. He's an active officer, an OWI arrester, if I remember correctly. He was involved in several things in patrol as an officer. One was accident reconstruction, where he investigated fatal crashes in and around the city, and then ultimately went on to lead that unit. He also was involved in the infancy of our SWAT team when it was first born in about 2002. Luke also was a field training officer in those days, mentoring officers into the officers that they are today. Luke was moved into detectives, where he worked for a few years as a detective, and in 2010 he became the sergeant of the detective unit, supervising the daily cases that went on in that unit. Also continuing his service to the accident reconstruction and then becoming a team leader in the sniper side of the SWAT element for our department. In about 2011, Luke was promoted to lieutenant and moved back into patrol, where he supervised a shift. From that area, he went to the National Academy, and he brought back a profound amount of knowledge about intelligence. Did I miss something? Rabbit ears? He brought back a large knowledge of intelligence. More about that here in a sec. But a couple other things that he was instrumental in a department that you see today. One was he was a hard push for interdiction and crime suppression, and our crime reduction unit was born from those ideas that he brought to the table back as a shift leader. Another thing that he brought to us back in those days was just a good basic leadership foundation. And in 2014, he was asked to lead the investigations unit as a major, where he took on the task of the entire division. From that spot, Luke then built the intelligence unit that he wanted to build previously, out to what you see it is today, with the help of some of the officers that are in the room as well. In addition to that, Luke continued his leadership on the SWAT side, continued to help us with that environment. So in 2018, it was obvious to me that he's the guy that I wanted to come with me, and asked him to be the assistant chief. I called Luke. He was in, I think in Pigeon Forge with his family at the time, and it was a trying time for the agency, and I asked him to come back. And he left that night, and the next morning he showed up, and he's been by my side ever since. The things he's done as a assistant chief are profound too. The one thing that he came back with Major Peterson at the time, and he helped build our DNA program that we have today that's known throughout the state and some parts of the country. Another thing he helped is to inspire our crime gun strategic goal of getting our officers to go after the guns in and around the city of Fishers. 425 illegal weapons have been seized on our city streets since 2019 with his help. He is the leader of our task force. He's the leader of our criminal investigations unit, our internet crimes against children, our professional standards, internal affairs, our crisis intervention stress management team, and our chaplaincy program. And I couldn't envision doing it without him. So a round of applause for Luke's 25 years. Speech? No.
Thank you, Assistant Chief Gannon, for your service, 25 years. Thank you so much. Okay, moving on, we do not have any presentations this evening. We do have some council committee reports. We've got the Finance Committee report. John Weingart, would you like to report about that?
Sure, thank you, Cecilia. The Finance Committee met about 30 minutes ago. We had one item to recommend for approval, and that is on the consent agenda, item B. In addition, just want to report back not only to the committee but also the council. Met last week with our audit team at Forvis is going to be doing our financial statement audit for 2023. Talked about some changes that will be made just from accounting standards, but also to relay that for 2022, we had a clean, unqualified opinion for our financial statements, which is a tremendous achievement. So we're very pleased at the financial discipline that this community has, and we're being good stewards of our taxpayers' money.
Thank you, John, for that report. Moving on to department reports, the Health Department report is attached to the agenda this evening, so all council members receive that, and that's available for public viewing on the agenda. Do I have a motion now to move on to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Pete Peterson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Tiffany Detlitson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. The consent agenda is approved. Okay, thank you. We're moving on to the regular agenda, the government and miscellaneous topics. Number A8 on the agenda, 021924. It's an ordinance of the City of Fishers, amending section 35.30 of the City of Fishers Code of Ordinances, the fee schedule of the police department. This is first reading, so we have Chief Gephardt who's going to give us an update on that.
So the update is pretty quick and simple. Basically, since the salary ordinance increased salaries of certain officers in and around the police department, these videos are pretty cumbersome and time consuming. We wanted to raise those fees to match those of the people that have to review these. So the first line down here, you see the police department. That's some of my front administrative staff who does most of our reviews. And that's going to be 56 cents per minute up to 150 total flat rate. And the flat rate remains the same. What we're getting is an increase in the hours it takes to get to the flat rate. The second is going to be 84 cents a minute, which includes Lindsay's time if she gets involved in help reviewing video as well. And I would ask that the council move this forward so we're able to be compensated for our time in dealing with the body cam footage that comes off the streets all the time. Questions?
Wonderful. Questions?
Sure. We get a fair amount. I said a lot one time, and I think it was wrong when I went back and looked. I think we get a fair amount of things that come in for various amounts of reasons. People can be involved in a crash, or we could have been to their house, or it's a civil dispute of some nature and they want to get video that pertains to them and their case. And then, of course, we do it at the fee rate that we've set forth.
And so for public knowledge, what's that drawing them away from in terms of hours? What could they be doing better instead of drawing
Tons
more
of stuff.
footage?
I need like 82 more civilians from you guys for next year. I'm just kidding. They have we have a lot of day-to-day tasks, and this is taken on by my front-end staff. So as the ladies up front will will do this during the day, we'll rotate them out to do them and to move them back. But the normal operation of the department is, I don't think it's fair to say interrupted, but it's a timely thing that takes away from other things that could be getting done for the city, yes.
Okay.
Chris, is this something we can suspend the rules on or approve?
Sure, it's up to your
I'm gonna make
purview.
a motion to suspend the rules and approve on
Second.
first.
Okay, so there's a motion to suspend the rules by Pete Peterson, second by John Weingart. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign.
Gonna make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Pete Peterson, second by John Weingart. Any more discussion by the council members? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you all.
So you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to planning and zoning, item 9, it's 121823. This is a consideration of a rezone of 5.67 acres from a PUDM concerning Sandstone Gray Eagle PUD to residential 3 for the expansion of Traders Point Fisher's Church. This is a final reading tonight.
Good evening, Ross Hillary, Planning and Zoning. Thank you. Item 9 before you is 12-1823, which is the final reading of the Traders Point Church rezone. As you said, the request is for a rezone of 5.67 acres from PUD-M to R3 residential for the expansion of Traders Point Church. The property is currently zoned with the adjacent Sandstone Gray Eagle PUD. Place of Worship has owned the parcel in question, shown here in red, since 2004, according to county records. The first reading did go before you in December 2023. The church held a public neighborhood meeting on January 25th, and the public hearing went before Plan Commission on February 7th. Concept plan is attached within the ordinance as a condition of Plan Commission, as well as a recommendation from staff. Concept plan is shown here. The public hearing went before Plan Commission on February 7th and received a favorable recommendation of 6-1. The primary concern of the neighbors who provided public comments, as well as residents who were in the audience, was noise due to the type of structure that the building is. Neighbors were informed to reach out to the church with any noise complaints first. If they feel like they were not being heard, staff recommended they reach out to the non-emergency 911 line. Since February 7th and confirmed today by Chief Gebhardt, we have received no noise complaints. Staff feels that there is open dialogue between the neighbors and the church. The church expansion would eliminate existing noise, as the primary sanctuary would be relocated and the existing structure would turn into classrooms. All buffering requirements would default to the UDO. This property has some terrain issues, as you can see here, that green area, which limits the buildable area to the westernmost side. Charlie Maddox with Crossroad Engineering is here to answer any additional questions, as well as me.
Thanks, Ross. Are there any questions from council members? I think there was a question, I think you've addressed all of them, but in terms of sound insulation in the new expansion, is they're going to be putting that in place? And
Yeah, the representation from the church, and I think we have some here tonight, they confirm with staff as well as the residents there that with the new construction, they'd make sure that the sanctuary was highly insulated and a different construction material in the first place would be used.
okay.
We have a real easy way to determine whether or not, okay, they are not in compliance with the noise ordinance we have. So I would urge the residents, if there is noise, let's get Ed and his people out there to go take a reading, right? And if you're over the noise ordinance, guess what? You're gonna have to comply with that noise ordinance. I don't necessarily have a problem with the rezone. I mean, that's not really what I'm about. When I didn't make the last planning commission meeting, although I put a note out to the other planning commission members and I said, I don't know on the noise issue thing until we actually get a reading that says you're in violation of our noise ordinance. Do I think there's any actionable item by the council, right? So with no one really complaining, I guess, I'm not gonna stand in the way. However, I will urge those neighbors that if they believe that noise is too loud, let's call the police department, let's get them out there with a noise meter, right? And then those guys will have to take action at that point, because we have that in place, and that's the reason why we have that in place. And, you know, most of the time, we get it from the bars who want to go ahead and have bands, you know, playing late at night and fireworks that go on too long. But I guess churches and their services and with the music and everything else, that could be an area that we need to look at too. So I'm just going to urge those residents, if they believe there's a noise issue, call the police, let's get them out there, let's figure out whether they're in violation of that noise ordinance, and then we can take proper action on that. But seeing that, as long as they're going to take the necessary steps to try to appease the neighbors and build a different building with better sound protection, I'm not really going to get in the way of this, so.
Anybody else? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the expansion of the Traders Point Fishers Church? I have a motion by John Weingart, and second by Todd Zimmerman. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. It passed, motion passed. Congratulations. Okay, we're moving on to item 10, 121823A. This is a consideration of a text amendment of the Unified Development Ordinance to remove section 4.2.1 commercial use limit overlay. And the final reading, and Ross Hillary is here to present this item.
Yes, item 10, 121823A, which is a consideration of text amendment to the UDO to remove section 4.2.1, which is the commercial use limit overlay. Bit of a background, the commercial use limit overlay was added to the UDO in 2017. This limited the use of the grocery store on 3 parcels in total. The Kroger at 116th and Allisonville, which you can see on your left, and the former Marsh at 116th and Brook School, which you can see on your right, and a third parcel, the former Marsh at 96 and Lantern. At this time, this overlay remains on the 2 parcels shown. In 2021, we added provisions to the UDO for any building that is 25,000 square feet or more is required to seek council approval through a change of use permit. Staff sees this overlay district as the duplication of those efforts, as both of these properties are over 50,000 square foot in total. A public hearing was held at Plan Commission on February 7th. There was no public comments and received a favorable recommendation, 7-0. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ross. Are there any questions from council members?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Second. The overlay by P. Peterson, second by Selena Stoller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right. Moving on to item 11011624. This is the annual update of the Fishers 2040 Comprehensive Plan. This plan creates the long-range planning goals for land use, housing, neighborhoods, transportation, and parks. And Ross Hillary is going to give us an update on the status of Chapter 6, summary and implementation of the 2040 plan.
Thank you. As you mentioned, Fishers 2040 was codified by City Council in 2016, and we did our first required update in 2021. The Fishers 2040 Comprehensive Plan lays out a roadmap to how we successfully make smart growth decisions in land use, housing, and neighborhoods, parks, and transportation. And in 2021, we added the implementation chapter to track all action items to update for our community, and it's staff's intent, as we heard tonight, to bring forward an annual update. A couple items that I want to make a point of. In 2022, an icon was added to denote any action items that are found in the 2040 plan that contribute to the ongoing work of the Environmental Working Group. And in this update here, and in 2024, we added the Health Department icon to show any action items that contribute to the ongoing work of the Mental Health Action Group. Both of these groups are staff-led across departments, also including outside agencies, and are actively working on action items found in the 2040 plan. Couple of fun facts to kind of give to you guys tonight. In 2023, we continued our growth with over 440 new residential building permits, which is very similar to our growth that we saw in 2022. This is part of our continued outreach with our neighborhoods. We have a grant program that's been very successful, which is our Neighborhood Vibrancy Grant. We also do monthly HOA communications, and we have our upcoming HOA Spring Workshop this week as well. Another fun fact to kind of throw out there as well, the comprehensive plan lays out an ideal acreage to resident ratio, which we continue to increase as a community. And as of 2023, we have over 820 acres of city-owned parks and open space. Also housed within the 2040 plan before you tonight will be the Fishers Trails and Greenway Report, which represents a roadmap for the development and enhancement of bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure. This plan is centered on the creation of safe, accessible, and comfortable facilities for cyclists and pedestrians, and has a focus on development of the network over the next 5 to 10 years. The proposed recommendations aim to address the evolving needs of the community while fostering active transportation alternatives, promoting healthy lifestyles, and creating more connected Fishers for all residents. As of 2023, we have over 131 miles of trails in our community, and we are dedicated to continue to grow that number as we complete trail gaps, which were shown in this report, as well expanding our greenways. Lastly, the engineering department does an annual update of their Thoroform map, which is housed within the 2040 plan. This shows future intersection improvements like roundabouts, both by the city and the county, while also reflecting completed improvements. Lastly, I encourage all residents to read the Fishers Comprehensive Plan as it outlines the city's vision for the growth over the next 15 years. The 2040 plan can be found on the new city website, fishersin.gov/2040. Happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Ross. Are there any questions by council members?
Great job on that. Again, I think we've always led in this particular area, Ross, and you've been around there for a lot of it. So to you and your staff, thank you for all the hard work. And no one else has any comments, I'll make a motion to approve.
Absolutely. Okay. Motion by Pete Peterson. Second by, well, Todd Zimmerman beat you here to the, and the second by Todd Zimmerman. Todd Zimmerman. All right. Okay. Second by Tiffany Detlitson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. No opposition. Okay. The 2040 plan gets approved. Thank you, Ross, for all your help. Appreciate that. We're moving on to regular items. There are no unfinished business today or new business. We're going to move on to item 13, community comment. If there are any residents or people in the audience willing to share some comments, please step up to the podium, state your name and your address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
My name is Robbie Slaughter, and you can use the address P.O. Box 525, Elwood, Indiana, 46036. Thank you. Again, thank you very much, Council, for having me speak in front of you tonight, and it's good to see all of you. And hello to the audience as well. I'd like to point out that this Council is doing something which is quite excellent, which is getting things done for the local community. And that is really a tribute to the commitment of everyone on this Council to serving their community and to being accessible and being available. This happens because everyone here in this room cares about the future of Fishers and the future of Central Indiana, as do I expect many of you. I also want to point out that this room is not especially partisan. There are Republicans and Democrats here on the Council, and I imagine in the room as well. And that is not an especially relevant component to getting the good work done in our communities. Unfortunately, that partisanship has become rather difficult in the rest of our country. Certainly during the election process this last year and elsewhere, we see partisanship becoming utterly destructive to who we are. And that's why I'm making the decision to run for the U.S. Congress as an independent candidate. I want to make sure the Council knows and members of the community know that as an independent candidate, in order to get on the ballot, I have to get over 7,000 individual signatures from folks who live here in the 5th District. And I'd love to meet with anyone afterwards who'd be willing to talk to me and possibly sign my petition just to allow me to run. Of course, Republican and Democratic candidates aren't required to do this. They already have immediate ballot access and are instantly on the ballot. This process is difficult because every time we mention party, we think of contention. And I want to point out once again that this group, although it consists of members of both parties, is not focused on partisan issues, but rather on serving this community. Because serving a community, taking care of our country and the people in it, is not about party, but rather about service to our nation and to the people around us. So I want to thank this body for continuing to not focus on the party differences, which might have been important outside of this room or in the election, but instead on doing the good work. I'd like to ask any members of the audience afterwards if I could speak with you individually about my own interest in running, not for a body like this, which again, where partisanship is not a major factor, but for the U.S. Congress, where partisanship has become utterly destructive and difficult for all of us to move forward. Again, my name is Robbie Slaughter, candidate for the U.S. Congress. Thank you all for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak, please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record. Thought there was somebody earlier that wanted to come up and address the council. No? Okay. Looks like there's nobody else wishing to speak. If that's
Motion to
so,
adjourn.
I will close community comment. Okay, motion by Pete Peterson, second by Selena Stoller. All those in favor to adjourn, say aye. Aye. Thank you. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.